let's go home. Today is another travel day. I am leaving my hotel on my solo holiday and I'm going back home. Welcome to day 16 of Vlogoween, where I am doing regular vlogs in the lead up to Halloween. Think Vlogmas, but Halloween edition. Also, hello, if you don't know me, my name is Rajan, aka Not Half Bad Crochet, and if you would like to see any of my future Vlogoween posts, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I do have a playlist with all of my previous vlogs in case you need to catch up. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, give it a little like and leave me a comment to let me know what you think. So today is going home day. I have just finished packing. I had breakfast. I woke up a little bit earlier than normal today, just purely because I was like, I need to pack and I don't want to be rushed. 11 AM is the checkout. Right now it is 10:15, so I've got about 45 minutes before I need to leave. My flight isn't till 2:30, so I want to ideally be at the airport around 12:30, but I think as soon as I check out, I'll just make my way over. I'd much rather be waiting at the airport than just kind of like bumming around at the hotel for no reason. So yeah, I've packed everything, which didn't take me long at all. I think I always just assume it's going to take me a lot longer to pack, but yeah, it didn't take me long at all. I've done like my final sweeps of everything, the cupboards, the fridge, the balcony, and my suitcase is closed. My carry-on is ready, and yeah, I'm ready to go. So I went down to breakfast a little bit earlier today, and the staff are really nice, and I think they like know when people are leaving because they kind of like recognize you. And the person who always like is there for breakfast, but it's like, oh, have a good flight. So yeah, I really can't fault the staff here. They have been so friendly, so lovely, and they just, yeah, I feel like they make the kind of experience for you a lot more personable because they kind of recognize you, if that makes sense. I've had a really nice holiday. I feel like if you've caught some of my previous vlogs, you know that I've been quite overstimulated whilst I've been here. I don't know if I would return to this exact hotel, but in terms of Malaga and Spain and like this area of Spain, I have really enjoyed myself. I think as well, for my first solo holiday, the main reason why I chose this location was because I wanted somewhere that was a bit familiar and like quite touristy, because I've been to Spain a few times before, not Malaga specifically, but I'm kind of a bit more familiar with it, and the fact that it's quite touristy, meaning that like loads of people speak English, it's easy for me to get around, there's Uber, there's like, you know, there's things that will make me feel a little bit more safer and comfortable, if that makes sense. But yeah, I've had a really good time. I'm actually looking forward to going back home though. As much as I love traveling, as much as I love being on holiday, I am a creature comfort kind of person, and I am like a bit of a homebody in a sense. So yeah, I am looking forward to being home. I miss my partner a lot, I miss my rabbit a lot. I'm ready for some smooches, I'm ready for some cuddles with my rabbit. But yeah, the flight's only about 3 hours, I think. So I think I land in Gatwick for about 4:20. I got a notification on my phone this morning saying that the flight was running about half an hour late, but it's just updated to 20 minutes late. So hopefully by the time that I am at the airport and the flight is ready, it will kind of like catch up. I don't know what the reason for the delay is, but hopefully it's not too bad. And even if I arrive a little bit later, traveling home isn't going to be too bad because it's not like I'm coming home super late or anything. I did also check my trains from Gatwick to like a station near me, and there's rail replacement buses, so I was like, oh my god. So usually it's a direct train from Gatwick to a station that's near where I live. It's about like half an hour walk from where I live, so there's rail replacement today, which is kind of annoying, but it does mean that I could potentially go to a different station and then just get the train to like the station that's closer to where I live, which is only like a 5-10 minute walk. So it means that I won't have to do as much of a walk when I'm home. So I'm kind of debating doing that depending on like the timing of when I arrive and stuff. But yeah, I've got everything ready. I'm ready to go. I'm just kind of waiting at the moment. I think I might just chill for a little bit. Also, I want to do like a little price breakdown of this holiday. So I paid a total of £499.98. So I'm just going to round that up to £500. So the flight and the basically I did a package holiday. So I typically will book my holidays through, I think they're like online travel agents basically. Like, so places like Love Holidays, Holiday Pirates, lastminute.com, that sort of thing. Because for me personally, often with those kind of packages, you get the flight, you get the hotel, you sometimes get like a airport transfer, and a lot of the time the hotels have like half board or all inclusive or full board. So I much prefer booking my holidays that way. It also just works out a lot cheaper, particularly if you're going somewhere in Europe. I think for some reason like these websites kind of seem a little bit scammy, if that makes sense. Like I know a lot of people who are apprehensive to book these kind of holidays on these sites because they think or they assume that it's like a bit of a scam. I have never had that experience. I have literally booked maybe about 8 holidays through these kind of sites, anything from like, you know, a beach holiday to a city break, a week holiday to like a long weekend. So I've absolutely had no problems at all. You know, it's fine because you're booking through a travel agent which has like the atoll, I think it's atoll protected, yeah, atoll protection. So you get like a certificate, so you kind of know it's legit basically. So for the £500, the dates that I have been on holiday is Wednesday the 3rd of September till Sunday the 7th of September. So today is Sunday. 4 nights, 5 days. I arrived quite late on the Wednesday, probably about 9-10 p.m, and checkout here is at 11 a.m. and my flight's at 2:30. So usually as well, when you're doing these kind of like package holidays, they'll find you the cheapest deal and the cheapest flights typically. Usually the cheapest flights are like either at the butt crack of dawn or at like 10 p.m, 11 p.m. Obviously I'm traveling on my own. I also rely on public transport for me to get to and from the airport. So I needed flights that were like kind of in the middle of the day. So when I was looking for this holiday, it did give me those cheaper flights which were at a more awkward time. So I just changed the flights, and usually obviously it will bump the price up a little bit, but obviously for me personally, I was like, well, I don't mind footing that cost because I'm traveling on my own. I don't want to be, you know, getting a taxi or anything. Because as well, I find that although you might be saving a little bit of money, maybe getting to the airport really early or leaving your holiday really late, it does kind of just make things a little bit awkward, because a lot of the time, like if there's no public transport, you have to get like a cab to the airport, which is usually quite expensive, especially if it's super early or super late. I find as well that if, say for example, I had like a really late evening flight today, like what would I be able to do? Because my checkout's at 11, like sure the hotel can hold on to my luggage, but I can't really do much. I can't sit by the pool because then I have nowhere to shower and get ready afterwards. I can't go to the beach because of the same reason. So it sets me in like a little bit of a limbo area. So I personally don't really like doing that, because it just makes a little bit more sense for me to just leave when I need to check out of the hotel. And I'm not really that bothered about having like an extra day, because for me personally, I'm like, when I'm in waiting mode, I'm not fully relaxed. So I'm kind of like, what's the point? I might as well just actually be on my way and like begin my journey back home. So I flew with EasyJet, and I did talk about it a little bit when I was arriving on my travel day 2 here. I have no issues with EasyJet. I feel like obviously it depends on who's on the flight, it depends on so many variables, but yeah, I've never had a bad flight, touch wood, with EasyJet. I feel like the seats aren't particularly forgiving. Like, yeah, they're not, you don't have a lot of leg room, but I've never really had a problem with that. My partner also hasn't, and he's around 6 foot. In terms of like width and comfortability, I guess, of the seats, they're not particularly forgiving, but I personally have only ever really used EasyJet for like maybe like maximum a 4-hour flight, and it's been fine. I've never really needed a seatbelt extender, even though the seatbelt like belt is kind of at its like longest, its loosest. But also I wouldn't really care if I did need one. If you are somebody who's plus size, just ask for a seatbelt extender. Like, it's not worth your safety being risked. Nobody cares. The flight attendants don't care, the people in the plane don't care. And if you are a little bit worried, you could always ask like when you board, or you could bring it home. So there's lots of options around it, but yeah, don't sacrifice your safety, you know, that's crazy. So I'll be traveling through lunchtime, and I've got like a few snacks in my bag. I picked up like some sweets, and I took some pastries from the breakfast because I had like a little like sandwich bag that I was keeping my crochet stuff in, like an extra one. And yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna take some of these pastries. I didn't take loads, I took like 3, and then tiny mini pastries, so don't judge me, okay? I feel like this is a very common thing, and it's not like I cleaned them out. So yeah, I took a few pastries with me, and I think I'll probably pick up something for lunch when I'm at the airport, because where I'm gonna be traveling from like 2:30 to 4:30, I reckon I'll probably want a late lunch. I didn't have a particularly big breakfast today because I wasn't that hungry, if I'm being honest. I feel like because I actually ate like 3 meals yesterday, I didn't have like a big dinner like I have been. So when I woke up this morning, I wasn't like super hungry or anything. That's all I have to yap about for right now. I have about half an hour left until I need to leave, so I think I'm just gonna chill on the balcony. I'll chat to my partner for a little bit, and then we're gonna head off. Hello friends, it has been a couple of days since I got back from my holiday, but I figured I would do a little debrief of my day. So I ended up getting home really late on, well not really late, but a lot later than I would have liked on Sunday. So when I left the hotel, I got an Uber to the airport, pretty much checked out exactly at 11. I was debating kind of just like bumming around the hotel for a little bit or just like getting to the airport, but I was like, I'd much rather just wait at the airport. So yeah, got an Uber to the airport. I had absolutely no problems with my Uber, arrived in really good time. I went to go do bag drop. A bag drop took ages because for some reason, and I don't think this is like a universal thing, with EasyJet you have like the speedy boarding people, which is where people have like paid extra to get speedy boarding, and then you have like the regular queue. But what they were doing was they were doing all of the queue of speedy boarding, and then like when that queue went down to nobody, they would then do the normal queue, and then they would kind of do it that way. Whereas I'm used to them doing like 2 people at speedy boarding, 1 in the normal queue, 2 people at, you know, I'm used to them kind of going back and forth. I think that's an absolutely insane way to do it. So I was like second in the queue for about 20 minutes because that's what kept happening, and it was really annoying because it's like we were kind of, the people who were at the front were just like constantly looking at the speedy boarding queue being like, I hope nobody else walks down this sort of thing, because we were so close to the front. Obviously luckily I was there like in really good time, so I wasn't like worried about missing my flight or anything like that. But you know, you're just like, this didn't need to happen. I didn't need to be stood in a queue where I was second from the front for 20 minutes. But yeah, dropped my bag off, went through security. Security was fine, had no issues. I do feel though that whenever I leave the country, I do realise like how efficient London airports are. And like I've been to all of them, Stansted, Gatwick, Luton, Heathrow, and flown out of all of them like on several occasions. And like, yeah, they are all extremely efficient, very efficient. Like the Malaga airport was nice, don't get me wrong, but like in terms of efficiency, in terms of the kind of amenities that they have, the layout of the airport, it makes logical sense, whereas the Malaga one was just kind of like all over the place. But I mean, ultimately it was fine, but just an assessment from me. But yeah, so when I got there, it was really busy. There was like not really many places to sit unless you were like at a restaurant or like at one of the places where they got so many fucking fruit flies in here, or one of the restaurants or places that they offered food. So I grabbed myself some food. I wasn't particularly hungry at the time, but I knew I would be for like just before getting on my flight, because my flight was arranged for 2:30. So yeah, I just hung around. I filled up my water, charged my phone, and then my gate got called, so I went over to the gate. They then changed the gate like last minute sort of thing, and I got a notification on my phone to be like, oh, the flight is running late, but then they were calling for boarding. So I was like, oh okay, maybe they've like, you know, managed to catch up. Got on the actual airplane, got in my seat, everything's fine. It was like a full flight again, and then they're like, oh, by the way, there's too much air traffic control or something like that, so like we're gonna be taking off like 35 minutes late. I was like, why the fuck would you put us on the plane? Like, why would you put us on the plane and make us wait for 35 minutes? Like, I don't understand it. And also the reason being too much air traffic around Gatwick, as if these flights are not like pre-arranged. It's like somebody just decided to go up in their aeroplane. I was a bit confused about like how that's even like fucking possible, but I was like, whatever, we're on the plane, it's fine, like it will leave eventually. I think in the end it left around 40 minutes later than it should have done, which was kind of annoying. I had basically timed my flight to arrive home for like 4:20, and then meaning that I would be home for about like 6:30. So I kind of timed it perfectly that like I could get home, I'd have dinner with my partner, I'd have enough time to like chill with him, maybe unpack, and then I'd be ready for work on the Monday. But because of the delay of the flight, obviously the flight got in like 45 minutes later than it should have done. And then we arrived, the baggage belt took fucking ages to you know, turn on. The passport control was like really quick because they've got the automated ones. So it was super quick to get through like passport control and stuff, and like to get actually off the plane. And then yeah, the baggage belt took ages to actually like turn on. So that added an extra time. And then as I was waiting, I was like, all right, let me look at my train journey. And it was basically, I think I mentioned that I had like rail replacement buses for the station that I should have been going back to. So I was like, oh, maybe I can get back to the station that's a little bit closer to where I live. but all of those trains to back to like the station that's closer to me were all cancelled. So I was like, okay, how the fuck do I actually get home? There's also tube strikes this week, all in London. I don't need to get the tube, but like I think that kind of affected the other trains and like how busy the other trains were. So I eventually had to go from Gatwick to Clapham Junction to another station to the station that's like further away from me, and then my partner came to meet me and then walked me home. But there were delays on every single one, and then when you actually got on it, they were like fucking crawling, which I find so frustrating because I hate being on a train and just like feeling it go so slow. I find that so frustrating. So yeah, they were, every single step of my journey was longed out by about 30 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer. So by the time I actually got into my house, it was like 10 p.m, which is really fucking annoying because obviously like I should have been home 3 hours earlier, 4 hours potentially earlier. So yeah, very frustrating, but it was ultimately fine. That my partner came to meet me at the station. He'd carried all my bags and stuff, which was very nice of him. And then he like surprised me with some flowers and this like little welcome home thing, which I thought was so cute. And then because obviously I was talking to him throughout my holiday, I told him I did get any barbecue lays. So we have an Asian supermarket near us, so he got me some, I think they were like Texas barbecue steak or something, like Lay's crisps, and he was like, I know they're not the same, but like the closest barbecue Lays I could find, and then got me like a box of chocolates, which I thought was so cute. It was so nice of him. And he'd like cleaned the flat, we had fresh bedding and stuff. So yeah, all I did when I got home was like essentially debriefed with my partner, we caught up with each other, and then I had a shower, I got into bed, and that was basically it. So that was kind of like the rest of my day. But yeah, very frustrating journey, which is really annoying because it's like I know how much shorter this journey should have been. I know, like I planned it so well as well, which is so frustrating, but it was ultimately fine. I did manage to get home. It obviously did take a lot longer, and I think towards the end of the journey I was like, I just want to be home now. And like it literally was like dark outside, you know, and it's like I shouldn't have been traveling for this long. Like that's just crazy to me. But yeah, I had a really nice holiday overall. I have been like editing and uploading all the footage, like ready for the Vlogoween vlogs to go out. I did have a really lovely time. I really enjoyed myself. I think this was like a good entry holiday into like me going on solo trips, which was quite nice. I definitely wouldn't go back to this hotel purely because it's so loud, purely because it's very family friendly, and that's just like not the vibe that I'm after. They do a lot of evening entertainment. That's just not what I look for when I go on holiday. I want like peace and quiet. If anything, I want silence. I want absolute silence, and I want nobody to talk to me. And that was just like not the vibe of this hotel. But that being said, everyone at the hotel was incredibly lovely, incredibly friendly. Cannot fault them, cannot fault the room or like the service that I received. But yeah, the food was a bit like mediocre in my opinion, and it just, the hotel vibes just weren't for me. So yeah, I don't think I would return to this particular hotel or this particular location, but I'm very glad that I did go on my first ever solo holiday. I think it was like a good starting place for me, and now it's like I kind of know what I want and what I don't want, and what I'm kind of like willing to maybe spend a bit of extra money on, that sort of thing. But yeah, I feel really good about the fact that I have, you know, done my first solo holiday. I think it's like a good one to get under my belt. I feel very brave. I feel like I've accomplished something really exciting, and yeah, I feel like in the future as well will be good for if like my partner wants to go on holiday with his friends but we want to kind of meet up halfway through, or like if one of my friends is going somewhere on the solo trip, we can kind of meet up and then separate, sort of thing. So I feel a lot more confident about like being in another country on my own, getting a flight on my own, that sort of thing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog for my travel day and all of the vlogs from my solo holiday. And if you want to see any of my future Vlogoween posts, be sure to subscribe to my channel, give this video a little like, and leave me a comment to let me know what you think. I do also have a playlist with all of my Vlogoween posts, so if you want to catch up on any of my older ones, you can find them there. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will hopefully catch you on the next one.